Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m., June 25th, 2014, and welcome to the DS Domination official corporate webinar. We'd like to welcome all of you. Thank you. Hey, Tesh, we're going to talk about billing for a second, okay?
Oh, come on. Okay, let's talk about billing.
I'll lead it. I'll lead it. I want to try and do it justice, and then you can squash me, okay?
Okay.
So, no need to be alarmed if you'll see if you didn't see your again affiliate message or an email. Just ignore this. It's for a small percentage of the company. But some people, when we switched over from Infusionsoft, our former billing company, over to our new billing company, your information didn't get carried over. It's not lost or out in space or something. It just didn't get carried over. So you've had some levels subscriptions, and they're all different. You might have had affiliate for a while and not paid for 30 days, or pro, and it shows active in your office, and you had no idea, for the most part, that you were getting it for free the last week, 2, 3 weeks, something like that. So after we conglomerated that and tested this fancy scripting, we turned that off, and you got an email in accordance to that. All you have to do is log into your back office, click inactive, and make a payment on that. And then you're good to go. You're on the new, beautiful, lovely billing platform. And we apologize you have to take that time to do that, but it's the only way to do that. We don't command your billing information. We can't go to the old place and just ask for your card and run it. We can't legally do that if we wanted to. So that's the first thing I wanted to cover. And Hitesh will talk a little bit more about commissions and fix everything I just described. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yes. Don't do it in sign language though. He disconnect. Hey Tesh. Did he just disconnect? Oh, he's come back on now.
I was just muted. No. Okay. I was just muted. I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. To clarify, like Roger said, it was a percentage of the company. It was 2,918 people specifically whose information wasn't carried over properly. And it also was a wonderful experience in observing humanity in action, because there are people in there who hadn't paid for 3 months and never said anything about it. But the second they got an email saying, hey, you have been deactivated, they were like, why was I deactivated? So it was just kind of funny. But we have 2,900 some people whose information was not carried over from the previous platform. You would have received an email saying, hey, your access to Pro, Elite, or Affiliate has been deactivated. All you have to do is go in your back office and click on inactive and activate it manually. All the instructions are in the email you received, and that's basically all there is to it. There's nothing to be alarmed about. That might have caused some of the affiliates to miss commissions because you went inactive for a while you missed commissions. Not many of you at all, maybe about 7 or 8. So that's basically where we are with the billing. It's all been kind of sorted. We have been on it for about 36 hours straight, nonstop, and all will be good with that. At the same time, some of you would have seen fluctuations in your commissions, and those fluctuations are actually a result of both this issue, which is people's stuff being moved around, and at the same time also a result of Genesis commissions that I had to pull back out and reallocate as a continuation of this issue. So that's all that happened. Some of our very top leaders with the biggest affiliate accounts would have obviously noticed something going on, but many of the others would not have even noticed anything. And we are probably making fools out of ourselves right now by announcing this on a corporate webinar, because vast majority of you don't even know this happened. So let's move on to something fun instead.
Awesome. And just a quick addition, that represents 2% of the company, so no need to, if you didn't get the email, no need to examine or write into help desks or anything like that. So, okay, on to fun stuff then. What do you got that's fun, Hitesh?
I have lots of fun things, but I would like you to discuss your fun things first, so I can then come in and take away your thunder with my fun stuff instead.
Okay, awesome. So I'll do some fun things right now, and we're going to cover everybody from general, just getting started, all the way up to Genesis. Okay, so coming in August 20th, the neck snapping by eBay. What I want you to recognize is eBay is going to make some changes August 20th, and we're pretty excited about them, even though everybody in the world's scared of them. And what I mean by that is my evolution of eBay. I don't go too deep into it, but I've been eBay's made changes since I've been a member over the last decade, and I always take advantage of those changes. So when I actually first started eBay, when I was working at that restaurant, I go get a PayPal question or something would go wrong, and I couldn't address it because I was working 86 hours a week, so that account got shut down. Then I had a pizza delivery guy by the name of Adam, and I started just taking checks and money orders. You didn't have to take PayPal, and Adam would come sauntering through the door with checks or money orders because we set up an account together. That were about 3 weeks old, so that account got shut down. I then set up an account in my cat's name, Gus, and it's a true story. And from there, when I left and had some time and I could do it right, that's when I absolutely exploded eBay. But along those lines, going from, going from day one all the way to 10 years in, there was changes where you couldn't leave positive feedback for or negative feedback for customers. There was changes where what you guys see as DSR and star ratings and shipping times and Amazon Prime accounts and all that. And I endured all of that, and I took advantage of all of that. So we're just going to do that again. Here's what we're going to do. And August 20th, I think it's the 20th or 22nd, eBay is rolling out some changes, and there's two major ones that affects us, but we're going to just spin it and make it positive. The first one is the returns, or the you have to ship the item out policy. Amazon has a stricter policy than eBay as far as you have to make sure you have that product shipped out. Therefore, you have to have it in stock, or it's got to be priced right to make sure you can fulfill that order. So what Amazon will do is they have a health grade on your account, and your health grade goes down if you can't fulfill orders, and eBay is going to adopt that because they just follow Amazon around, do the same thing. So the questions for people are, okay, what if I run out of stock and I can't fulfill that order? What if there's a price change and I can't afford to fill that order? Or what can I do there? So after, I'll have Hitesh come in here and word this correctly, but we're going to be tracking all of the companies that we're using, and Hitesh has got some killer stuff that he's going to talk about that'll actually go into your eBay account and make edits for you. So we're going to be tracking all of that. Now, what does that mean? Why is that awesome? This is why it's awesome. Because every member that left DS Domination or tried to learn from a YouTube blog or took content and sold it for 88 cents off or something like that, every moron out there, I guess is how I'll classify that, is now screwed. So when this comes along, their account's just going to get shut down, and they'll have to come back to little old DS Domination. So we'll actually control everything because their accounts will be getting in trouble because of poor health. The second thing that's going on, did everybody laugh when I said that, guys, when I called them morons? Okay. The second
nobody
thing
said anything.
Nobody said anything? I can't believe you said moron. Okay. The second thing is they have something that's going to be called hassle-free returns. And your eBay account's actually going to have a little button on it by your listing that says hassle-free returns. Now, what this is if a customer comes along and says, okay, I want to return an item, they can click on this hassle-free return button, and all of a sudden you get billed possibly for that return. So what happens is the customer click on that button, and eBay will give them a return label to return the item, and you could possibly have to pay for that return, which begs a million different questions. Where does the return go to? If the return address is your home, then that would be returned to your home. Now imagine if you're selling on, I mean, that's bad enough if you're in the US, but imagine if you're over in the UK, for example, and a customer clicks on that, and the product that was sold in Boston, Maine, or Boston, Massachusetts, is now on its way back to the UK, and the seller is now responsible for that shipping back. That would absolutely suck because that would cost a lot of money. So this is another thing nobody's going to be able to get around except for us, which just makes DS Domination stronger, and here's how we're going to do it. Okay. One, during this return process, the customer has to say the item is damaged for the seller to be responsible for the shipping. Now, I know we're kind of low on mankind and stuff like that, and we suspect that the customer is going to get their stick that you ship to them, and they're going to want to return it for one reason or another, and it's going to say, okay, if it's not damaged, then you pay the shipping buyer, but if it is damaged, the UK guy or the American or whoever is going to pay the shipping, and then the customer snaps the stick in half and says, yep, it was damaged. All right? That won't happen as much as you think. I know, just trust me, that won't happen that much. So what will more likely happen is your customer that has a potential return will see it and say, I don't want to bother paying the return shipping, so I'm just going to keep it. That's what will likely happen in most cases. But in case that doesn't happen, during this process here, when the customer clicks on that and a sheet is done for them to print out and formulate a return, they're going to have to print out a label and put it on a box. You're going to have a chance to respond to that customer. So the first wave is, as soon as you get notified that a customer initiated a hassle-free return, is going to be to reach out to that customer and say, hey, look, we're going to return this for you, no problem, we'll send a label. Also, I'm going to coach you what to put into your descriptions so your customer knows it's easy to do a return with you guys. You know, the return policy, a lot of buyers do read your return policy, but they'll be blown away if you just put in the first couple lines of your description, we have a 100% hassle-free return policy. It's not going to increase your return rate, but it's going to have them reach out to you more, okay? In the absolute case where the customer just absolutely ignores you, doesn't want to deal with you, won't communicate with you, everything else, we're going to have it set up. We will set up a return center here in the United States, okay? So if you're in the UK, for example, you'll be able to put the USA address of our return center. So when your customer comes along and says, I want to do a hassle-free return, eBay will say, okay, cool, send it to Roger's house. Okay, it won't be my house, but send it to Roger's house. I'll get it, communicate with you guys, or the place that we have will communicate with you guys, get the return sent into wherever your supplier is, and we'll take care of you with that, because that's what we do. So I got some questions in the help desk about this, and I want to let you guys know that we're fully aware of all this. It's not going to affect us. I think I saw a message like doomsday on Facebook where people just love to give up. Like, I think DS Domination's screwed because this is coming out, so you guys are screwed. Just give up. Just give up like you've always given up. We'll just go ahead and forge forward and make a bunch of money. So that's what we have covered with that. It should be a good time to come in here and talk about why people are not going to run out of stock or run into a price change. Right now,
this is definitely a good time for that. And
because we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Okay, I'll mute him soon if you guys want.
Thank you.
Anyways, moving on.
Shine every day.
Here we go. Now we're actually going to move on to the other issue that we discussed, which is, one, how do we make sure that we don't run out of stock, and how do we make sure that we're getting good prices and all that good stuff, right? The stuff that everybody wants to know. How do I make sure that I'm always going to make profit? So here's how it goes. Hopefully you guys can see the screen. And actually, we'll use an acronym for this. We'll just come up with our common misspell of my name, which is high tech. We will use that to try and learn this. It's Hitesh Insights, tracks, edits, compares, and H is just happy fun time. Okay. Basic point behind this is so far a lot of you have heard about insights. You've heard some basic stuff about insights, and there is some basic stuff to it. Basic stuff like you can see reports of what's going on with your accounts, you can see how much money you have made, you can see what your best selling items are, so on and so forth. You can also look at your most recent orders that have come in, and you can actually fulfill those orders right from in here. And when you go to fulfilled, hopefully you can see this, then it actually asks you for your source, and I'm not going to click on it because it's going to show all the sources. You can actually select the source where you're going to fulfill it from. You're going to put your product cost in one time in addition to any cashback you might be getting, which is great for all of you elite and unleashed users. Now you're going to do that once, because from this moment on, whenever this sale happens again or whenever this item sells again, the system is going to figure out at that moment in time what is your most profitable source because maybe combined with the cash back, another source is going to be more profitable for you. So it's going to tell you that. At the same time, it's going to compare across the board with a bunch of other websites, basically every single one that you hear about in Elite, every single one that you're trained on. In addition to that, a couple more. It's going to track the price and the product availability on all of those and make sure that it's available in real time. So that takes us to the next point, which is, okay, that sounds very exciting, but what about my prices on eBay? What happens if I run out of stock or something? So you'll see actually this really nice setup right here, which is where you click on import listings. It's going to pull all the listings in from your account. You can see this particular account has about 400 and some listings on here, almost 500. And what you're going to do is, this is your eBay listing right here. You're going to tie it to your ASIN, which is your item on Amazon where you're sourcing it, or actually any other place. You can have your item ID from Overstock, for example. You're going to put that in here and you're going to say, I want to make minimum of 20% profit every sale, or I want to make minimum of $7 every sale. So when the price fluctuates on Overstock or Amazon or any other source that you have, it's going to automatically go to your eBay account. It's going to edit the price on eBay as well. And if it just so happens that the item runs out of stock on every single source out there, it's actually going to deactivate that listing and make sure that you don't end up with an order that you can't fulfill, which will also prevent the issue with the hassle-free refunds and all that kind of stuff, because you don't have to have a high refund rate anymore. So this little thingamajig is going to be released for everybody in DS Domination at no cost whatsoever. So you guys don't have to pay for this for any of these items within Insights, and that's part one of what's coming.
Aren't we supposed to make a bunch of money because we're greedy?
No, we are not supposed to make a bunch of money. I think we agreed when we started DS Domination that the aim was that we will go broke trying to make people a bunch of money.
But since we have this, don't we have a monopoly on this, and everybody needs it, so we could charge whatever?
And that is the other point. This is actually going to tie in, not on this particular point, but it's actually going to tie in with something else that you guys have heard about called supremacy, which will essentially run every other individual who's trying to sell on eBay after August 20th out of business, because they will not have the ability to track and fulfill orders like we do. And on top of that, they will not have the ability to monetize all their buyers like we do.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's not sad, it's happiness. Go ahead, Dash.
Okay, so right here we have a link to something called supremacy, okay? And we have talked about this in the past, and here's what supremacy does. It essentially goes a whole circle and it grabs all your buyers. As you can see, this whole thing is live right now. I'm actually not supposed to be on that page, but this whole thing is live right now. We're actually collecting all of data, and you can actually follow up with all of your buyers internally and promote any items you want to do. So you get notification one day, which is another pretty funny part, is we're actually going to be doing announcements every single week about pretty insane deals that are available for a certain amount of time for DST members. It's actually going to splash in on your DST back office. So when you log into your DST back office, you're going to see this thing. It's going to say, hey, this particular item is usually available for this much. It's now available for $34.64 from these few sources, or we know of this particular source. And you guys can promote it. You can put it up on the listing. You can drop ship it using this intelligence, and we'll give you all the titles to use, all the different keywords that you can use with that, all of that fun stuff. You can actually go out there, put it up there, and every single listing of yours and buyer of yours that matches with that particular item, you can actually make money off of that. Okay, so it's just pretty awesome overall. It's actually everything that I used to do in the online marketing arena, except we have basically transferred it over to the drop shipping side of things. So you're basically building a list, following up with them on autopilot, you're making sales, and you're building little niche stores that over time you can just turn into massive domination, as our name is. And this is your even faster pathway towards Genesis and having your own items that are going to be awesome. So this whole thing is actually building up towards that final stage as well, where you have your own items doing insanely well. And I'm going to just drop this one final thing before we go back to Roger. The final thing is, those particular items that I just mentioned, we're going to featured in here, and we're going to show you where to get them really cheap, and we're going to share all the intelligence on. Where do you think we're going to get those from? We're actually going to be featuring items that our DST Genesis people have figured out that they are sourcing in, and we'll basically help them sell those by collecting and creating intelligence on it, putting it out there. Basically, we're going to hand a sales force of about 20 to 30,000 drop shippers over to our Genesis people. Okay, so that is how it works. That is basically the idea behind all of this. We have a few other things to discuss and go over. So I'm going to pass this back to Roger. And Roger, maybe you want to go over some of the things that are coming in Genesis that tie in with all of the stuff to take it to the next level. And then we will come back and go over a couple of other updates and move on from there. So handing it back to you, Raj. Actually, you need to grab the screen because I don't know if it's Kevin or you, because we all have the same name in here.
Yep. While Roger's grabbing that screen, guys, do you guys understand just with what they've shown so far that after the updates alone on eBay, no one outside of DS Domination will be able to come close to competing with what you guys are doing in here? Do you guys get that? I see things like life-changing understood. Yes, is that not insane? Just what you've seen here. Ridiculous. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Hey guys, do I have the screen now?
Yes, you do. We have the pretty stars. I know you took a lot of time making those. Can everybody please talk about how nice those stars are?
Well, how I do it, hey, Tash,
stars on here.
Let me freak you out, Tash. Look at that.
No. Select this, go to size, and make that a little smaller, and then use the golden color.
Golden color. No, people don't want to see that. Okay, moving on. So as we, and I recognize that some people on here don't have Genesis. This isn't a Genesis sales pitch, but just like we cover everything, okay? So we're going to cover some stuff here for folks that are...
Wait a second, Roger, before you go on, can we just please clarify again? This is the point that we do want to make very clear. The end goal, like we have made it clear in the past, I want to make sure you understand. The end goal of DS Domination is you begin with eBay. That's basically your Kickstarter. That's where you kickstart, but that's not where you end. You are going to end eventually with the biggest sales source out there, which is Amazon. So when we're talking about Genesis, this is not saying, okay, all of you in Pro and Elite, shut your ears because this is for Genesis. This is for all of yours future. Okay, so all of you need to pay attention to this stuff as well, because there are a lot of goodies coming in here which you really do want. So now go ahead, Raj.
Great point. Thank you. So, guys, right now, and I'll address what's going on internationally for everybody. It's for the most part when you source a product from China, for example, you're going to use DHL or a company like that, FedEx, UPS, and what's going on is traditionally you get on there and you're going to source the item. And if you're in the U.S., we've got a little air background noise, guys, if you can mute. Traditionally what happens is if you're in the U.S., you have the item shipped in via DHL, and the item arrives at your house. And then from there, you ship it into Amazon, and DHL gives you a taxes and duties bill, okay? And you can kind of judge from discussing with the Chinese supplier what the taxes and duties bill is going to be, et cetera, all right? Right now, though, if you're international, there's nobody to pay that tax and duty bill. The folks that you're discussing with in the Chinese suppliers and things like that, they're not going to pay your tax and duty bill. They don't have the capacity. China cannot pay for you, all right? And if it arrives at Amazon, Amazon's just going to reject it. So I want to give you guys some fixes, and I want to let you guys know that Kevin has or is going to upload the videos are all complete for this, so these in your back office that will detail all of this for you. If you're in different countries outside of the U.S., you'll simply set up your own DHL account, your own FedEx account, your own UPS account, and each country has subtle differences, and I've communicated with people from the UK, with people from Canada, from Australia, but for the most part, it's a pretty simplistic process. Now, I'm going to show you an item here that was pretty lightweight, and they wanted, and don't let this blow you away because this isn't standard, they wanted $3,500 for shipping on this item via DHL. And when you're over in the UK or Australia and stuff, when you're setting up your DHL account, you might look and it mentions in the videos that shipping might seem high. But you're trained to price point the items out and say, okay, if the shipping's $3,500, and don't get scared, that's just a huge number. It's not really going to be $3,500. And you have 3,500 pieces coming in, you just add $1 per piece, okay? So that was like a little missing link for everybody that was over there. So the next question is, okay, cool. Now I know to set up my own UPS, my own FedEx account, my own whatever. But where do I ship it to if I can't ship it direct to Amazon, right? So now we've put in the back office training on exactly where you can ship it to. You're going to be shipping the product. Everybody from the international community, it's not fancy schmancy software, but give me some yays. And I'll try and spell Tennessee while I'm getting them. Tash, fix that. Okay, so you're going to be shipping them directly into Tennessee, okay? A company there is going to process them for you and then ship them onto Amazon for you. So if you're international, now you can go ahead and get your orders in. They're going to ship into Tennessee, the same address every single time. Okay, you're going to be using your UPS account, your FedEx account, your DHL account. This company is going to accept the orders for you, box them up appropriately, and send them on to Amazon for you, which fixes the first international problem. Okay? Now, we're going to make this even better in the incredibly near future. Like my phone's right beside me waiting to make this better right now. We also have coming out, and we're in discussions with this person, a company in California. And the company in California is going to give us warehouse space. It's going to be cheaper to ship into California, okay? We're attempting to piggyback on their freight right now. So the company in California already sources China, everything else, and we're attempting to communicate in such a way that U.S. or international will be able to write in and say, okay, I would like to get this item. I've been quoted $4.65 a piece and $1,000 in shipping. The company in California will say, okay, no problem. We can get it for you for $4.65 and $300 shipping with our freight, okay? The product would then arrive in California using this company's freight, and then this company would pay your tax and duty for you and then bill you, okay? So that's step 2, and I'm literally expecting a call any minute now to finish that up. Step 3, coming to a theater near you. Shortly after I get back from from Canada, within 2 to 3 weeks, I am going to Houston. In Houston lies a electronics company. These are good friends of mine that
Electronics R, like your first name.
Electronics company, yeah.
There is an R in there, like the first letter of your name.
Yes. Airtonics. Okay. But I'm meeting with there's 2 gentlemen that I've worked with for a while in other companies, and they actually go back and forth with Nigeria and exchange oil, and they do big multi-million-dollar products and businesses. They also own electronics companies down there, and they already source stuff in from China. So here's the goal. Myself and 3 other gentlemen, 2 fluent in all the dialects of Chinese, are going down there to meet with these folks, to set up our own warehouse, to set up our own container ships, and then from there it's off to China to make sure every company on the Chinese supplying site can then ship to our container ships in China and then send the stuff off to Houston where there's less taxes, where we'll check it into our own dang warehouse, won't mark the stuff up too high, won't mark the stuff up at all, whatever the cost is, and then pass that along to you. So now when you price something, it's $4.65 instead of your freight being $1,000 and other people's hands in the pocket, it'll be more like $80 or $100 or something like that. So for me, it's Canada, this starting tomorrow, back down to Houston for a meeting, and then it's off to China, and then it's back here, and then set everything up, And that's what we're doing with Genesis, Hitesh.
Mutimus. Well, and of course, we need to point out that you will be able to manage all of this when this is all set up. And just for the sake of being on the safe side, we'll say if it is all set up. But when this is all set up, you will obviously be able to manage this entirely from your back office in DS Domination. So you guys don't have to have 5 different accounts in 12 different places. You'll actually have a fully fledged integration in place. And what you'll be able to do, one of the things that is really important to mention, which in all the excitement we didn't get to mention, is as you know, if you are going to be sourcing items and selling them on Amazon and so on, one of the great things you can do is have your own images as well, and have different styles and have different brandings and have different labels on things and so on. And these places, these warehouses will do all of that for you as well at cost. So you can actually include instructions and say, hey, can you take apart this tool and show how easy it is to put together in 3 or 4 images and put my sticker on there which says Nikki's tools or whatever and stuff like that. So you'll be able to do that as well in there. So that's all going to be a part of the warehousing as well, which is also a great time, I think, to move on and talk about one more thing that is going to help international people as well.
If you can give me 2 seconds just to wrap something up, because I saw a
You have 2
question that's
seconds.
related. Kevin has or is uploading right now videos on training all this, and it also includes a tax and duty calculator that's so easy to use that you can't miss. You type in shirt, it asks you if the shirt is polyester or cotton. You pick that, you tell them how much it costs, and it spits out what the freight's going to be for you guys. So I saw that roll across, tax and duty calculator in the back office in Genesis for you.
Yeah, guys, go to it's already up there. So during the
Awesome.
webinar, I uploaded it for you guys to make sure you'd have it once this webinar is over. If you go to page 3 of Genesis Traditional, those will be the 4 more videos, 4 more modules at the bottom of the page. Watch that after the webinar.
That's what I'm talking about. And last thing, really quickly, while we're on this topic, is one of the companies that's featured in Genesis. They couldn't make it to our Las Vegas conference. And then after the conference, they got so many orders they're blown away. So they've put a 10% unlimited coupon back there. They were going to put it in there for a limited time. It's back there now, and you can use it, and there's no limited time on that. So you guys know which one I'm talking about out in California, and we just are muscling up and leveraging ourselves now, and people see what is up. Back to you.
Beautiful. That was actually 85 seconds exactly instead of the 2 seconds you demanded. But that's okay because that was all relevant and good. We will actually, you know what, I'm now stoned because there's stuff I wanted to show, but there's also stuff related to what we just talked about. I'll just go with this, which is up on my screen, which is, as you can all see, the DSD app. This is in hands of one of the testers. They're actually testing it out right now. We have tested all over the place. And the obvious question that we're going to get, that we've had for a while, is does it work for iPhone? Does it work with Android? Yes, it works with both of them. It's been tested with both of them. And yes, it works internationally. You can see that this one is priced in pounds because this is in UK. So yes, it will work internationally as well. Yes, it is actually all ready now. It has been tested in both platforms in multiple locations with multiple people. We plan on rolling this out over the next 48 hours. Okay, so this will be coming out over the next 48 hours. And if it wasn't for the whole billing commission fiasco, then I would actually be getting insights out within the next 48 hours as well. But I'll actually explain to you guys, this is one of the fun things about insights. Part of the reason why we haven't actually released it yet is eBay has some limitations on how many calls you can make to them per day, and we have so many users and so much data. We are estimating that we command close to 184,000 active listings on eBay right now at this moment. That many active listings that are being sold are on there. So instead of just having one connection with eBay, I'm actually building 12 of them, which we're going to rotate through to make sure that we never hit a snag on that. So that's the only delay right now. Otherwise, you guys saw the functionality is all done. Everything is good to go. So we'll be putting it out there. But there's another fun thing for Genesis people, which is you remember when I talked about the price comparison that happens with drop shipping sites. So when you want to sell something on eBay, here's a drop shipping place that you can do it with. Well, there is a very similar thing that you can do when in Genesis. And that 10% coupon place that we just mentioned, there's another place for sourcing. There are actually 3 places for sourcing in all that we are really emphasizing right now. And one of the key questions that always comes up is, how do I find really profitable products? I'm running out of ideas. How do I come up with ideas, and so on? And what you will be able to do starting the 15th is you will essentially type in a particular keyword for the item that you're trying to source, or you will put in the ASIN of the specific item that is currently selling on Amazon. Okay, and you will obviously get data on it very easily on how much it's selling and whatnot with SalesFi, which we'll show you in a second. But what this will do then is it'll actually go to those 3 different major sources which are in Genesis, and it's going to go there. It's going to pull all of the products from there. It's going to show you those products. It's going to compare them. It's going to calculate the FBA fees on that. It's going to tell you how much it's selling on Amazon for right now. So it'll essentially tell you the best place to source those items, total cost after FBA, after shipping, and after relabeling if you want, and all of those things. It'll do all of those things for you, calculate that out there, and you can just literally put in, if you all use the Pro Amazon Product Researcher, it's basically the exact same way. You'll be able to type in very specific stuff and say, show me items that on each source cost less than $40 for me to source in my total cost, but sell for more than $70 on Amazon right now. You could actually just define that and get those items right off the bat and just run with them if you wanted to. Just doing exactly that is actually one of the examples that I even posted on Facebook earlier. While testing this particular method, I actually found an item that the total cost, well, the cost of sourcing it was about $7.99. Total cost, including everything, duties and whatnot, was $17 and some cents. And it's actually selling right now on Amazon for $99, and I was going to sell it for $79.95. So I would be able, actually I would be undercutting. I would be the cheapest person on there by far, and I have immense profit margin. So that's some of the stuff that you'll be able to do with this particular tool that's also going to be coming out. And the reason it's going to be being released on the 15th of July is also very significant. We will talk about that 15th of July date in a few minutes. But before we do that, I just mentioned how you'll be able to track how products are selling and what they're selling for on Amazon and how many they're selling a day. That's done with this thing called SalesFi, which is in Genesis. If you go to Genesis and you go to SalesFi, you're going to see this thing. All you do is you click on register your ASIN. You will enter the ASIN code of something on Amazon. It is going to then go ahead and start tracking that item. You can click on get data, and it's going to tell you how many times a day it's going to sell. So on average, this item is selling 8 times. So if my profit calculated by the other tool after all the FBA fees, shipping fees, duties, and blah, 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 if my total cost after all of that is $12 and I'm going to sell this for $26, that means I'm going to make $14. And if I'm selling close to 8 a day or 10 a day or whatever, I'm going to make somewhere between $112 to $140 a day. For a fact, I'll pretty much know that for a fact before I even begin. So you won't ever go out there try and guess how much you can make. You will know for a fact exactly how much you're going to make. Here's another item that's selling quite a bit today, but on average it's been selling 8. Today it's sold 13. So we can actually go in there and try and figure out why they sold so much. There might be some special deal or whatever going on. But again, you'll be able to get all the specific data. You get free of these tracks. You get 3 of these trackings for free. You can track items for free with your Genesis account. If you want to track more than that, then it costs $2 per item to track, and that's just because of all the server costs that go into it. There's no other option for us. We actually have to charge for it, but we give you free 3 of those, and you're also going to get free UPC codes for Genesis, so you can actually list your items up there without having the cost of UPC codes as well. So all of this is going to be released. The SalesFi is actually ready. Will be released in the next 48 hours as well, alongside the app and parts of Insights, the early parts of Insights. So all of that will be released really quickly. There is more stuff that will be released before the 15th of July. As you can imagine, all the stuff we're rolling out does take some time to put out there, make sure it's all working properly. But at the same time, you can imagine how much more powerful Genesis is going to be on the 15th than it is right now. With all the stuff for international people, all the stuff for basically click a button, tells you what the profitable items are. You take the profitable items, find out which items are selling well on Amazon, get those, combine them together, make a bunch of money. That's basically all you're going to be doing. It's actually going to be easier than dropshipping. One of our major concerns with Genesis when we first brought it out was, are people going to think this is too much work? Is this going to be a lot more work? And there are some steps which are more work than typical drop shipping, but at this point, not really. Once we have all of this stuff out there, this is pretty much as easy as drop shipping. So you're just going to copy paste, click a few buttons, and that's pretty much going to be it. So because of that, the 15th of July date has a very strong significance. Very strong significance, not just for all of our Genesis users and everything, but also for all of our affiliates, because we are planning what will be our first and possibly the only, hopefully the only, price raise on anything ever. As you all know, so far we have released stuff and it's all free. We don't charge for it, and we try to take pay cuts ourselves to make it happen. However, it's come to the point where that's not going to be possible with this particular thing, in part because of actually the demand from our affiliates, because we all know how underpriced things are right now with Genesis. So, Raj, if you want to explain a little bit about what the culmination of all of this will look like on the 15th and what we are planning on doing, then that would be, I think, quite stellar.
Yes. Am I muted? Yeah, absolutely. So what we kind of discovered is we went out into the well, first, it kind of goes way back to me. Every person prior to DS Domination, prior to Tesh, prior to Kevin, that I've ever met, when I would say, hey, this is my eBay training course, it's $47, they would send me a book or something that they bought that cost $1,000 that was useless. Or I would see all this garbage out there that cost $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. It was relatively useless, and they would spend that money on it. So I had no idea. I got that win background again, guys. I had no idea what the market was or how to price things. And every step of the way, every affiliate, everybody I worked with was saying the stuff was too cheap. And me, it was like, I don't care. People are making money with it. That's awesome. There's food on my table. I don't live a lavish life. And when I met these two guys, they're not interested in Ferraris and yachts and everything. So all the prices just went. But if you've ever heard me on a webinar talk about this, when we launched Monopoly, I said, Kevin, this is a slippery slope, because this is what I would do if the earth ended, is I would go over and sell on Amazon with techniques that I have and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a wrestling match to release Monopoly. And then I said, okay, well, I'll just do FBA if the earth ends. So then we got into that wrestling match again. Now, along with it, what came with this when we were launching Genesis is we were back and forth, and I had the ability to do FBA a year ago myself, just go do it and blow it up and make money with that. But the issue is it wasn't replicatable. It wasn't an easy system. It was complicated getting things ranked, and I didn't have the power of DS behind me where I could put an item out there and people would sell it on eBay and come buy it on Amazon and blow it up. I didn't have any of that. So I had to do all these little tomfoolery things that couldn't be retaught. Not that they were illegal, they were just complicated. So when we came along and talked about Genesis months and months and months ago, and then we were able to add on enough stuff through Hitesh's technology and stuff like that to make it easy enough, and add on Genesis Easy, the best named product in the world. Hitesh hates that name. Then everybody can do it. But along with that came so much more server space and so much more technology and so much more stuff that it's, I think, Kevin, I ran down the prices on what we make as owners on Genesis, and it's like nothing. Okay. So the price is going to increase, but we're not going to do it. We looked at it, and we thought, okay, well, 1st of July. I said, well, there's people that will want to save money for this and build up towards it. So the price will be going up on it July the 15th, and it'll just be coming with more and more add-ons and more tools. But before we talk about that, I want to bring somebody out here that can show you how to make more than Genesis is going to cost this weekend at your local dollar store if you want to. I'm going to bring out a girl named Nikki. And when she comes out here, She got in her car in Las Vegas after she saw this, and stopped at every single Target, every single store along the way. I don't know her final figures. I just keep seeing screenshots of bags of Target bags and screenshots of bunches of money made. And while she is very talented herself, she is scanning a barcode in a store and then looking at the screen and having it say, send it in and make X amount of dollars. And she'll talk about that process with you and show you how quickly you can make easily enough money to cover whatever your Genesis is if you can't get it now and you have to wait. So, Nikki, I'm going to click the magic button and bring you out here right now. Magic button. Are you here? Okay, you have 2 places that you're on, so I'm going to click the other magic button. Are you here now? We hear you. Nikki, are you here? Did you mute yourself? It looks like you're connected in 3 different spots.
And thus ends Roger's attempt with magic buttons. You know, but why don't we leave the magic buttons?
No, no magic buttons. Nikki, are you here? I'm gonna solve it. Nikki has like 3 connections on here. Can you guys check the chat and see what she's putting in there for me, please?
She's not putting anything in the chat right now.
Okay, then we're just going to go down to Miss Joel. 1 second, guys, who's doing similar things and making crazy money scanning stuff with an app. I'll be right back. Q, 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 R, R, R,
Here's Roger's second attempt at a magic button.
Stop it right now. There's so many names on here. I'm still on the
She's
S's.
saying, I'm right here. It's in alphabetical order. How hard can it really be?
I clicked on Nikki's mic. She's on here twice.
Is like,
feel free to do
okay,
it.
this is the best example you're going to ever get. This guy
Renee,
right here.
can you go ahead and shut him up? Renee Joel's on here. She's a lady.
He is making money doing this stuff.
Renee,
you guys are hilarious. I am
If
here.
Roger can make money, seriously.
Yeah, I was about to mute out
over a
Hitesh,
lady.
but he had
We
a
should
problem.
just have Roger as the example.
How embarrassing,
Look
a
at this guy.
gentleman
He can
speaking
make
over
money.
a lady. Renee,
Oh, my word.
go ahead. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm sitting here just amazed and blown away, which happens just about every time you guys get on and say anything.
Did I see you're going to medical school? Did I read that correctly?
I am. I'm in my 50s. This has been my dream since I was a little girl, and I'm actually going to be starting medical school in less than a couple of months. So I am just beyond excited. I can hardly stand it.
Now, how are you going to afford medical school? It's a loaded question, right? Why don't you go ahead and share what you're doing and you know how simple it is and your background? Like you're not a rocket scientist, you're just a doctor. But go ahead.
I'm just an everyday person. You know, I started DSD a little over 6 months ago now. I was broke. I had just walked away from a graduate program just before last Thanksgiving. I've got 30 years in various entrepreneurial ventures where I made and lost a great deal of money, but I was sick of it, and I swore up and down I would never get involved with anything else. And was broke, unemployed, 2 weeks from homeless, and I saw this and I thought I can do this. And I had the luxury of jumping in and working at stupid hours, full-time, whatever it took. I immersed myself in your videos. I still watch those videos all the time. I am just bound and determined I'm going to know what you're going to say before you say it. But when I got Genesis, something shifted. I've done very well with eBay and absolutely love it. But I took that little app that we've had available, and I went around to various stores. Now, there was an item that I had been drop shipping on Amazon quite successfully. And I thought, now hold up, I am the only person that's listing this right now on Amazon, and people happen to love it. Let me just go see if I could get these and send them in for FBA. And all of a sudden, I made a sale, and this item was no longer available online. And I rather panicked and made a couple of phone calls and found out that it still wasn't available. And so I went down to my local store, this store, and they said, oh, well, we don't have any. but there's a store a couple hours away from here that they have this many. Now, this was not a cheap item, but there was a very significant amount of profit in it. So I grabbed a friend of mine, it's also a team member who happens to have a truck, and we took off and we drove. We went to this store, we bought them out. I slapped shipping labels on them, shipped off the order that I had that I couldn't fulfill online for my drop shipping, and sent the rest into Amazon. And those are all gone now. This is the most powerful thing I have ever seen. It's simple. It's easy to follow directions. It's changing people's lives dramatically. And this is why I get to follow my dream and go to medical school. I can't thank you enough.
Well, I appreciate it. And you, have you made enough to pay for Genesis? And how long did that take if you did?
I've made enough to pay for Genesis several times over. I make that much in a weekend.
Okay. So there. Thanks for being on here. I sure appreciate it. You're awesome. And you know, I'll see you in the help desk. And I'm glad you sourced that item. We're back and forth on that, and I wanted to make sure you guys had that. So awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Roger.
You're welcome. So there's your Genesis payment on a weekend with a little scanning app and stuff like that. I know that product too. She doesn't make 10, 20, 30, 40. It's up there, how much money she makes on that. So that's awesome. Great job. And I'm going to get that product now and compete against you. Just kidding, of course. Of course. Hey, Tash, are you here?
Yep, I am here. No, I'm here. Actually, that was very interesting. Just listening, because it was just really nice listening. Actually, Renee is a very good speaker. A very pleasant demeanor, so to speak. Anyway, so you guys heard. I'm sorry. I was muted, so I kind of had to get back. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is you can obviously see that a lot of people do really well with this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if we trot out if we could show you 5,000 examples of people making money doing this, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make money with it unless you actually understand what we're talking about. So please make sure that you understand what we're talking about. Okay, what we are talking about here is you're basically going to take these super profitable items that so far you have been drop shipping, which means somebody else is sourcing this item and selling it on Amazon. Then you go onto Amazon, copy paste that, and sell it at a higher price on eBay. Instead, we are saying, you know what, why don't we take you a step closer to where you will be more profitable. Okay, so basically the retail chain, if you were to draw out a retail chain, it basically goes from here to here. Okay, and this is the manufacturer M, who is basically bringing in all the raw materials. Okay, so here's the raw materials that manufacturer brings in, and this is the consumer, the end consumer. And along the way, you have the wholesaler, and you have the distributor, and you have the sales broker, and you have the marketing firm, and then you have the retail stores. Okay, that's how it gets to the consumer. Right now, this is where you are. You are between the retail store and the consumer. You're taking it from Amazon, which is a retail place, selling it on eBay, which is another retail place. That's how you're making money. The further up you move up the chain, okay, the closer you are to here, the higher profit margin, but the more difficult it is. There's a lot more technical stuff to do. That's why the manufacturers don't just go out there and try and sell it to the consumers usually, because there's a lot of work involved along the way. What Genesis is about is you keep the convenience of this place. Okay, you do dropshipping basically for the convenience. You keep the convenience here, but you take the profits from here. Okay, so you're gonna, instead now of selling somebody else's items from Amazon, you will go to the manufacturer, put your own items on Amazon, which means you get to keep all the profit, and then you're going to take that same item, and if you want, just go out and sell that on eBay as well. So you can actually be drop shipping your own items off of Amazon, building your profiles in 2 separate massive retail stores, making profit on top of profit doing that, and be extremely, extremely successful. Okay, and we've been finally able to compress all the complexity down to a very convenient system, and we've been able to maintain the profits. Okay, that's basically what Renee is talking about here. She's actually able to make very high profits now and is in charge of her own sourcing. She's in control of everything but she doesn't have to deal with all of the stuff along the way near as much. That's all automated, okay? So that's the idea behind Genesis. And a lot of you will get it, and a lot of you understand why this is so powerful, and you understand the software and the app and all the stuff and why that's powerful. And our whole idea, our whole purpose behind doing this webinar and making sure everybody got that is come 15th of July, we will actually be raising the price on Genesis, okay? And it's not just a matter of, oh, it's because we want to make more money. We actually have to raise the price. One, because of the cost of all the software that's going to be in here, the server cost. But honestly, what everybody has been telling us is that we have to raise the price on it. One, because it is grossly undervalued right now, because people buy it, they're like, so many people buy junk for $1,000. For them, sometimes they don't even pay attention to what's really in here. They don't put it in action and stuff, which is their prerogative. I can't blame them for it. But at the same time, our affiliates work very hard on this, and they have also told us that we have pretty much grossly underpriced this. So what we're going to do is, currently Genesis is priced at $997, okay, which is ridiculously cheap if you really understand what you can make with this, okay? And I'm not going to try and oversell you on it or anything. You've seen the software, you've seen how it works, you've seen all of the stuff, so that's fine. That's Genesis's price right now. It's going to go up to $14.97 on July 15th, okay? Then on July the 17th, we are actually going to hold a Genesis only very special webinar where we're going to have we're going to cover a lot of the stuff that we covered in the one Genesis special webinar, but we're going to have even more special stuff on there on July 17th. It's for only Genesis users, okay? But until July 15th, this is like our advance notice. You guys can buy it for $997. You will not have to pay the extra price. You will still get access to all the software. You will still get access to all the fancy stuff. And if you're all affiliates, please make sure that you update prices if you have them out on your websites, if you are making videos about it, update all of that stuff and so on. So really, in a way, it's like, yeah, it's $500 more, but if you just look at all the extra stuff we're putting in there, it's like not even justifiable, because that's really about the only other company that even sells one part of Genesis costs about $3,500 for it. So it's like beyond justifiable, and this is a very horrible time for me because I hate sales pitches. I hate ever saying, so you should go buy it, but hopefully you understand why you should. And I want to answer one very important question, because a lot of people don't seem to understand this. When you click on Genesis and you see all of those things, this is all in Genesis. You're not buying separate sections of Genesis. I've seen like 3 questions about it where they're like, so do I buy the traditional, or should I buy the US, or should I buy easy? No, you get all of those as part of Genesis. When you buy Genesis, you're going to get all of that stuff in it. Okay, so we're not going to discuss too much on the price points and stuff. I know there's going to be a differing opinion. There's going to be a ton of people who are still saying that's too cheap, but that's kind of what we've decided to go with right now, in part because we are very shy and hesitant about being, about charging a lot of money to people. We just don't like it. So there you go. You can run with that. Now is the time for our very final announcement. Okay, I think this is a very final announcement. Roger, do we have more stuff to cover before I go to the final announcements?
Before you do that, could you just throw the screen to me? I just want to recap just a couple quick things, please.
This is a virtual thing. I cannot throw it at you.
Okay, I can grab it if you can't handle it.
Yeah, I can handle it.
I've handled it. Okay. Kind of I was thinking about the previous webinar that I did on something. I can't even keep up on webinars now. I got another one coming up in an hour. I realized that if we took DS Domination and froze it in time for like a couple weeks, and got some background noise, guys. And I froze it in time for a couple weeks, and by that I meant there was no help desk, there was no questions, there was no concerns, there was no webinars. Basically, we had 2 weeks to ourselves. I in my heart believe that we'd be making more money doing Genesis ourselves than we make as owners in DS Domination. And so that puts us in a situation where we want everybody to succeed. We have that part of it where we have this part of our body and heart and mind that wants everybody to succeed. And the other case is it's very frustrating that we don't have time to do Genesis ourselves. So that puts us in a situation where there's not a sales pitch. We would love for you to be successful and get Genesis. But at the same time, if you don't get Genesis, you kind of free up some more time for us to go do Genesis. So what I want to remind everybody before Hitesh finishes up is that while we focused a lot on Genesis, this is the corporate webinar. And your goal, we've put a lot of things in. We just talked about them in the beginning, where your goal is to start at Pro for $20 dang and work yourself up all the way to Smiles and Stories, where you're sitting on the beach and somebody's like, "How come you're retired so young?" And you're just like, "I just Googled DS, never mind, whatever." Okay, so this is all about, again, starting at the 1995. This is not a get your $1,500 checkbook out of your $997. Do whatever you want at the end of this webinar or next week. It's completely fine. Zero pressure. But remember that we are putting in trackers and stuff to cover you guys all through here, all kinds of software with the new eBay updates and stuff coming. It'll be relative to here as well. A lot of the stuff we talked about will apply to Monopoly as far as tracking and stuff goes there. Obviously, we're heavy on Genesis, et cetera, et cetera. Our next launch, the next thing we have coming out, we're not even going to blurb about it. We know what it is. It's phenomenal. And then, you know, Smiles and Stories. Whenever you decide you're done making a boatload of money, then just go retire and stuff like that. So, well, it seemed like the last 40 minutes, I just kind of started sensing that if I was on the other end as a pro member, I might be like, gee, man, they're pitching me on Genesis. I thought it was a different company. Absolutely, we're a different company. You take your time. You do whatever you want to do. If you're ready for here, you're ready for here. If you're not, don't put any stress on your family or your life or leaping ahead or any confusion and chaos. By the time you get up through here, you'll start understanding a lot of things that Hitesh is talking about. Just know that as a company, we're in amazing shape. You guys do whatever you guys want to do, and we'd love to see you guys be more and more successful. And once you understand that's our real goal, that's our real goal. I mean, we can't even, half the time, we can't even accept your billing when you try and pay us. Totally kidding. Back to you, Hitesh.
Thank you, sir. All right. So there is one very important thing. Some of you might have also noticed. I saw a couple of questions about it. Why wasn't Market Extreme on that list, or why isn't the affiliate side mentioned at all? We have always de-emphasized the affiliate side. Okay, that's just because it's like since day one, actually the beginning of DST, even before DST began, this is a conversation we always had, which was, if you focus on recruiting, if you focus on the affiliate side of things, there's like 3 to 5% of people who are actually good marketers. They can make money, but most of the people are just not going to be very successful. Okay, so we just chose to de-emphasize that side from the very beginning. However, that is about to dramatically change. Okay, and I want to talk about this a little bit because there are a lot of people who I know they've written to support desk. I get Facebook messages about it and whatnot, and we know this from just the general feeling in the company. It's like they're like, oh yeah, I could do the affiliate side too, and I would definitely be successful with it, but I'm not going to do it yet because I'm making so much money already doing the dropshipping side, which is awesome. That's what we wanted. That's what we set out to do. We're really happy about it. But here's what's actually happening. Very soon, there's something that we're going to be putting out, which we're not actually officially the ones putting it out. We are actually a marketing arm of this company, and part of the reason I'm in India right now is actually going through a lot of legal stuff to get everything in place, to get everything set up. What this will allow us to, and some of you who are at the event kind of know a hint of what this is about. Now, what is going to happen basically is if you're an affiliate in DS Domination, your income will more than double by itself automatically in the near future, okay, because of what is going to be coming out. So if you are somebody who's kind of been like, yeah, I really want to get going on the affiliate side as well, and now I have the money to get going on the advertising and stuff because I'm doing dropshipping successfully, this would be a really, really good time to do so, because what is going to come out is something that has never happened before, in the sense that when we started DS Domination, you know, the average company success rate is 3 to 5% of the people make money. Okay, that's because the only way to make money is recruiting. In our case, we said, you know what, we're going to focus on the product. You can make money with the product. So what we ended up with is, you know, over 80% people make money in DST. But I've always said this point, which is, if everybody in DST just focused on recruitment now, we would still go back down to a 3% success rate, because if you took even something like DS Domination, all you had was recruitment, people would actually not be very profitable. Okay, that's just the mathematical reality. And after a lot of mental gymnastics with math and code and so on and so forth, what is going to come out in the next few weeks is something where minimum 50% of the company or 50% of people in the company will make money with no recruitment, but just on the compensation side. So they would all be making money on the product side, just like DS Domination, but they would also be making money on the affiliate side, at least half of the people in the company. Okay, it's never been done before. It has never been achieved before, and it is actually going to be achieved this time around. We've actually been running a lot of simulations to make sure that it happens. So for those of you who are like kind of just sitting on the fence going, this would be a great time for me to just make a Facebook post and show my DS Domination results so I can get going on the affiliate side. This is a really, really good time for you to do so, not just as an affiliate of DS Domination, not just because of that perspective, but because of what's about to happen very soon. And we're going to start emphasizing this a little bit more the closer we get to it. We are going to actually show the whole math behind it to make sure that everybody understands why this will be so successful. And some of the top affiliates in the company have an inkling of this. We have shown a brief snapshot of this, and I mean, honestly, there were people who were in tears because they're going to be making twice as much in this than they are in DS Domination as an affiliate right now. Okay, so think of it like this: DS Domination is your job, and then your brand. Okay, you start out as a job. You do your drop shipping job, DSD. You start with your job, which is drop shipping, which is copy pasting stuff over. Then you build a brand, which is Genesis. You're going to brand yourself. You're going to bring your own items in. You're going to source items yourself. That is basically your business. That is truly a business. That's not just something that you're doing, copy pasting stuff, but now you have your own business. This thing that's going to be coming out after this is the next step in this. It's not just more money coming in, but it's actually money coming in. It's actually going to cover the whole side of investments. It's going to cover the whole side of a lot of other things, but it's also going to be the thing that's going to keep going on and on and on and keep multiplying everything you make from DST. So it'll be your job that you keep doing. Think of this almost like your 401k, that one day you're just going to come back and have a bunch of money there. Okay, so that's more than enough hints for you guys, but really I'm trying to not give away anything about the product because we are not the legal owners of it. I don't want to throw it out there right now. I just want to make sure that all your affiliates are ready for this, that all your affiliates are actually pushing your DST promos and stuff right now, because all your income will automatically double or more in the near future. Okay? So
Nitesh, I gotta
that
hop out and say
is all
something.
I had to say. Kevin, take over.
I just got to hop out and say this because I don't think he elaborated. That was awesome, Hitesh, and these guys, any affiliates, you know me, and you know that that in any kind of network marketing company and anything that you do out there online outside of DS Domination, typically you're going to have a 95% fail rate. Period. Right? 95% fail rate. Well, what was insane to me was. Hitesh was doing a lot of work with this company, helping him out, and there's a lot of things that have to happen before we would pick up that marketing arm, before we would do these things, because we're very protective of our members. And so I'm talking with Hitesh, and he said, "Look, we got this up to 32% of the people that come in here, estimated will make money with never recruiting." And I'm flipping out. 32, oh my, this is insane. And Hitesh goes, "That's not enough. It needs to be bigger. It needs to be higher." And so there you go. That's the level of protection that is going on here, the checks and balances in this company. Because I thought 32% was amazing. Hitesh is up, you're sitting around 50. That's ridiculous, guys. So are you affiliates out there? Yeah. I hope you got all that and everything he just said. Just ridiculous. And there you go.
And just to clarify that one point, one final time, on the product side in the new thing, just like DSD, we have 80% of the people making money. We have on the product side, again, we'll have very high percentage. I want to say even more than 80, but we'll have, just like DS Domination, on the product side, we have people making money. Okay, the same thing is going to happen there. What we're talking about at the greater than 50% success rate is just purely on the affiliate side, just purely that side. Okay,
Without
so
sponsoring.
in DS Domination, that's a weak point in that regard, which is if you're an affiliate and that's all you do, if you're just an affiliate, if everybody in DS Domination today just became an affiliate like every other company, we would also have the same failure rate. But we're not going to get that failure rate in the next thing that we're going to introduce as the next evolution of DS Domination. It's still going to be under the Domination umbrella of things, and it'll be very exciting. But this, just take this as like a very nice, friendly advice that this is a very good time for you guys to become an affiliate. If you can't get Market Extreme, that's fine, but if you can, that's awesome because it's going to help you. But just become an affiliate. Start building your team right now in DST. There are some very, very, very good people in DS Domination who are excellent in building teams. Connect with them. Talk to them on Facebook or whatever. Just work with them if you need to make sure that you're very successful on the affiliate side as well, because you will just one day just be very thankful that we were willing to put out this warning instead of doing a little big shindig dance about let's make a bunch of money and launching something. Okay, so that's all there is about this. Let's move on to a quick timeline of everything, so everything is super clear to everyone. July 15th, Genesis price hike. Okay, to 14.97. The commissions will remain the same, which is you will get 50% commission on the first sale. Okay, which means that if you're an affiliate now, when you sell this, you're going to make $750 nearly on each sale. Okay, and of course, there's the 10% on like the second level, 5% on the third level. Okay, so that's the Genesis compensation plan. That remains the same, so it's just higher commissions for our affiliates. We have the DST app rolling out in 72 hours. We have insights rolling out in 48 hours. We have Sales Spy rolling out in Genesis in 48 hours as well. I want to say 24 hours, but I want to make sure that all the billing is taken care of before we do that. Okay, so all of that stuff will be rolling out right off the bat. You can all expect this to be in there with the DST app. I want to make this very, very clear. The way the DST app is going to work is you get 20 free scans with the app if you are not a DS Domination member. If you're the average person out there who has no idea about DS Domination, you still get 20 free scans with the app. If you're a DS Domination Pro user, just a Pro, okay, the lowest level, then you get unlimited scans. It's basically free, okay, it's completely free. The reason for doing this is very simple. If you're an affiliate, for example, and you want to show how awesome DS Domination is and how easy DS Domination is, here's what you do. You host what we call a scanning party. You get a Facebook event put together, or you go with your friends shopping, you go with grocery shopping or whatever, you go to Target, and you say, hey, hold on a second. You help them get the app on their phone. They just download it. They don't have to do anything with it. And you both just scan items, or your whole group. You just scan items, and by the end of it, they're gonna have a bunch of items that they would make a bunch of money with. Except they won't know how to because they don't have DST and they don't have Genesis. It's going to be an awesome, awesome sales tool for you guys as well as for those people who are honestly just struggling. I'm sure you know people in your life, your neighbors or friends or relatives, who are just absolutely struggling right now. This at least gives them a start. They can actually go out there, start using it, see and understand why this is profitable before they jump in and have to spend a bunch of money. Okay, so that's how the app works. It's going to be tied to your account. It'll log into your account and work with that, so you don't have any issues over there. And it will also tell a user, let's say you are just a Pro member, or you have referred somebody who is using the app now and they're just a Pro member. It's actually going to, when they scan something, it's actually going to tell them, hey, it looks like you can make $4.86 on this, but if you had Elite, you would be able to make $6.21 instead. So it's actually going to also be the upsell tool on the affiliate side that'll also work in conjunction with everything else, making sure that you have a lot of income coming in on affiliate side as well. Okay. On Insights, we're going to have all the stuff that I showed you, minus just the eBay price editing by itself. We're going to roll all of that out in 48 hours. Like I mentioned, I have to get 12 different apps approved at eBay that we're going to rotate to make sure that everything is going to be working beautifully for everyone, and we don't have any issues with eBay suddenly not responding because we have, we have to basically request too many calls. It's like 5,000 API calls per day. We can't go above that. Okay. So that's going to come out right after I'm done with that part. Sales Spy is going to roll out in 48 hours. You guys will be able to track your items in there. You'll be able to see how many times a particular item on Amazon is selling at this moment. There's actually a couple more things coming out that we kind of forgot about, or we just kind of glossed over. Something called Keyword Drill. Keyword drill is a tool that will also be rolled out in, let's say, 72 hours, 96 hours, okay, 96 hours. What this does is you go in there, you basically put your item from Amazon in or item from eBay in, or you put in just a keyword for one of the items that you want to source. You're going to put that in, and Keyword Drill is going to go out and figure out all the related terms and all the related items that are currently selling out there, so you can use those in your titling for Amazon, and you can also use them for your titling on eBay. And the final thing, which is actually pretty super awesome, actually two final things. One is that we have the webinar, okay? Webinar on July 17th for Genesis members only. And then there is one other really super duper ultra awesome mega thing that we just forgot to mention, okay? So you know, there's a particular item that we were testing Genesis with, which was these pink teacup molds that Roger just loved. He always wanted them, but now he was able to source them, so he can have as many of them as he wants. So he basically went out and sourced those pink teacups, but there was a bit of a problem because we ran into this snag where they weren't selling a whole lot. Okay. What we did is we were having this trouble. We had a few discussions about it, and then I remember this day so beautifully because it was one of the days where I was like, you know what, I'll try out something from the fact that some of you know that I have a huge background in niche marketing and basically SEO kind of stuff. I've made a lot of money with that. I have like 300 sites even today. So what I ended up doing is created a system and a script that would manipulate the rankings of the item on Amazon itself. And so Roger and I were talking, and he goes, hey, you know, we just made like 8 sales today, and we kind of didn't know how. And here's what basically happened. We were able to rank these pink teacup molds, they're not actually teacup, for these words in Amazon. So when somebody would type in pink teacup, it would show up #1 in Amazon. Somebody would type in princess teacup, it would show up #1 in Amazon. Somebody would type in anything related to this, it shows up in Amazon, basically at the first spot. So we are making all these sales now of these pink teacup molds, and we even tested out with looks like I misspelled something. I hate it when I misspell stuff. So it basically, we even tested it with changing the title on the whole item. We went from teacup mold, you know, because it was talking about teacups. We went to molds. We started talking about molds instead. We ranked it for molds. Worked beautifully. So what basically ended up happening is that we were able to kind of go in and figure out the algorithm a little bit, and a couple other pretty fun things that we can do to drive a bunch of crazy traffic and basically start hijacking listings, hijacking other listings out there. So this gave birth to a particular script and a system where here's what you guys will be able to do. And this is crazy that I'm like, we just forgot talking about this because we were so excited. So what you do is you put the ASIN in of your particular item, okay, that you want to rank, and then you put in the keywords that you want to rank it for, okay, keywords to rank for on Amazon, and that's pretty much it. That's all you do, because then the software in the script actually goes in there, manipulates the stuff around, and makes sure that no up for those keywords and your titles are actually showing up. Your product is showing up whenever somebody types these keywords in on Amazon. Now, obviously, I haven't tested out with. You can't just go type in laptop and show up #1 for it, I'm pretty sure. But for anything even remotely specific like pink teacup or princess teacups or whatever, it works beautifully. It works very quickly, and we are able to get in there like 24 hours. So maybe Roger can actually talk about this a little bit more excitedly, because one, he is more excited about selling stuff, and he's more excited about pink teacups. So go ahead.
Did you guys hear that? Like about 80 seconds ago, Hitesh actually got giddy. I don't care what he says. This is recorded. I'm going to pull it out.
I was giddy. I get giddy about it. You know what? I mean, I felt like I just figured out like the sales secret to like anything on Amazon. It was just awesome. Why would I not be giddy?
That's how powerful it is. Yes, exactly. And we didn't forget about it. They were meant to save that. That's something like every person that attempts to sell on Amazon would pay infinite amounts of money for. So, yeah, you'll be able to take a couple words and put it in a keyword search, and it'll go out and do some things. And I know what it does. I'm just not going to say it. The test is going to pretend I don't know. But it'll come back and it'll start ranking your item.
I know you know. I told you. No.
Okay.
Uh,
That's exactly how it works. I mean, it's just that simple. And your item just rises to the top. And we went from, I know, a teacup sale every second day all the way up to 8, 12 teacup sales a day. And now that silly little item generates $1,000 profit. And all we have to do is find 5 lackluster items, and we got a nice $60,000 income.
Yep. So there's a question that I just happened to glance, which said, "Is that okay to do? Is it allowed?" Well, absolutely, it is allowed, and it is absolutely okay to do. It's just a lot of people just don't know it. It's like this. You guys go to a store. You guys go to Target or Walmart, and you are scanning items, and you're gonna sell it, right? And you guys go to Amazon. You copy paste items on eBay. Vast majority of the world out there doesn't know about this stuff. And if you start telling them this, what is the first reaction you get out of them? Is that okay to do? Is that legal? I mean, that sounds wrong. You shouldn't be able to make money that easily. There's something wrong with that, right? And that's what this seems like as well, because it's like, what, I can just copy in and type a few words and I just start making money. Yeah, that is how easy it is, and that is how it works. But people just don't do it, and people just don't know about it. And what they're ignorant of, they're never going to know is profitable. So this is just one of those things. Just most people on Amazon who are selling will never even think about this. They don't even think about their ranking. They're busy manipulating their reviews and their, all the descriptions in there and trying to get all of this funny stuff going. And this is how simple it really was, because the reviews actually didn't get us the sales, honestly. We just started out with it, and yeah, it was good. It gave us a little boost in the beginning, but then it died up. And once died down, actually, instead of dying up. But then once we got the whole ranking figured out, we're suddenly making 8 to 12, 15 sales a day. And it was just amazing because it was very exciting. It was honestly, I was giddy about it because I was sitting there on the computer and yes, DJ was on there and Roger was on there, and I'm like, okay, go and type in this word. Do you see you number 1 for that? And they're like, yep, number 1. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. This works. So I was giddy about it, yes. My giddiness has now subsided.
Well, I won't phrase this right again because I've been trying to rip this through my mind and stuff like that. But this Genesis has really reached a tipping point where it's like, you know what? We'll keep giving this stuff out, but it'd be so cool to just go do it ourselves. And it's kind of like Bubba Gump Shrimp when he had the only boat there in the harbor because of the storm or whatever. And we got all the tools that only do this and only do this and only do this, and we're instead of just eating all the shrimp ourselves, we're just giving the stuff away. And it really is at a point where we'd be, if we were just money hungry, as strange as this sounds, we would stop selling Genesis, or would never have sold Genesis. As strange as that sounds, and maybe 1 out of 5,000 people believe that, but it's true. Anyway, back to you.
No, it is true. It honestly is true. In fact, right now in my email account Gmail, I actually have a draft saved. There's a draft which literally has a list of about 20 different items that the moment we get freed up a little bit, we're gonna go and start doing Genesis like all in with it, okay? Because that's something that I've been doing this whole time. Do you think it's not exciting when you're building this stuff and now you suddenly have figured out? I mean, this is like being handed the keys to the kingdom, and you're like, well, I'm just not going to use the key right now. I'm going to let everybody else use the key first. And it's something that most people don't understand. And the reason we're okay with that is because DST was never meant to be the end all, okay? Even when we talked about this next thing that's going to come out, that was always planned. In fact, this is like Roger and Kevin can vouch for this. One of the first talks we actually had, serious talks that we actually had about our life goals, we had this discussion, and I said, this is going to be our end goal, and DST is going to be the beginning of it. And if I start explaining the end goal, most people will be like, this guy's insane.
You'll leave.
Don't you leave. You'll be like, this is crazy. So
go ahead, explain it, but go over the numbers. Do the numbers, because I thought you were a lunatic until you started mentioning the numbers on this. If you guys are interested.
It's far too early for it.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah, wait a little bit.
There'll come a day, you guys will watch it. Yeah, we'll walk through it, and you guys will be like, We are part of something far bigger than what we think, okay? And if we were just hypey lunatics, we would start a company with the idea that end goal that we have in our mind. That's what we would start a company with, because it's hypey nonsense that gets a lot of people emotionally engaged. But I just know that's hypey nonsense, so we're not going to talk about it right now. You actually have to have a foundation and numbers and trust in place to actually pull something of that level off. So just think of like the biggest thing you can imagine doing in the world and like amplify it 1,000 times, and you might understand a little bit of what we're talking about. But DST was always meant to be the first step. Okay, it was never meant to be the end goal. So we were okay, and we have been okay with losing money to make sure that we're building trust. Okay, because we need that for the future steps. The next step coming out is going to need that. The step after that is going to need that. The next two steps are actually already done, believe it or not. They're actually done. The sites are built. They've been designed. I had the first step done back in October. So I guess all I'm trying to get at is we are willing to lose money ourselves to make sure everybody's successful, because we need that trust more than we need the money. Okay, and someday that will make a lot more sense than it makes right now. And this is a total tangent. This was completely unplanned. I don't even know why we're talking about it, so we're gonna shut up and change the direction and bring it back a little bit. The point is, yes, we could make a lot more money with Genesis, because when I'm building the software, for example, obviously as I'm testing the software, I'm looking at right in front of me, there's 100 different things that I could source right now and make money on, right? But it's at that point you have to tell yourself, yes, but not right now, because we need to make sure that the software is out there for everybody else who needs it more than us at this moment. So that's what we've been doing. We're trying really hard to do it. And this whole software that I just explained, you put in your ASIN of the product that you're trying to rank and the keywords, you just put that in. That's going to be part of Genesis, and it is going to be free. Okay, so it's going to be released after July 15th, and it's going to be free, and you don't have to worry about paying anything extra for it either. So there's that. Did we miss anything? Maybe we have some last minute thing we'll suddenly remember. Oh yeah, that was the main reason for the webinar. This was honestly, this software was one of the main reasons for the webinar, and we just completely forgot about it.
Yeah, and overall, if you're new or you're just getting going, you might be like, I thought this was easy. What is all this stuff? It's just candy and icing and all whatever the the cliche words are on top of something amazing. So if you don't get a lot of it and you're just getting going, don't worry about it. People have made thousands and thousands of dollars at the pro level that you might be at, or the elite level, or the unleashed level. So just go through your paces, and you'll be here understanding all of this fully. Just amazing, good stuff coming out.
Yeah. You guys have
Beautiful.
seen from the pro on up to the Genesis how this has played out so far. And for those of you who started, making $20 sales and now you're doing 6-7 figures. I mean, it's just insane. Look what's going to happen in the future, and just understand that we have this massive plan just out there. I told you we had 5 years worth of things that we could bring to you guys to make you huge amounts of money, and you're just seeing small steps of those unveil now. So just totally exciting future for DS Domination and everything you guys are doing here. So for those of you who are with us, who have been with us since the beginning, you're in the right place. For those of you who just got on here yesterday and are going, these guys are nuts, what's going on here? You're in the right place. Just understand that. You are here with DS, and we are just here to make sure that you make a ton of money now and even more in the future. So that's where we are, and that's where we're going. Love it.
I mean, seriously, you have a retired Air Force guy from Japan, Kevin. You have a donut-addicted Canadian, and you have an identity confused Indian who doesn't feel like an Indian at all. So I understand if you're like, these people are insane. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. It's 4:57 in the morning. Well, actually, it's 4:57 in the morning for me right now. Why am I on here? Well, you're on here because honestly, a day will come. I'm so confident of this though. A day will come because you have the numbers worked out. I just get excited about this stuff. This is stuff that makes me giddy as well.
Giddy, go.
A day will come that you will look back and you will go, we never realized that we were a part of something that was going to be so massive. At this point, DS Domination is the largest dropshipping platform in the world. We actually have more integrations with more websites right now on the dropshipping and e-commerce side than I think pretty much every website in the world. And we don't lead out with that. We don't go out there and start talking about all of this stuff all the time because it means nothing to the end user, right? So what if you're the biggest dropshipping platform in the world? We could be the worst dropshipping platform at the same time, just be really good at marketing. That doesn't mean squat. what really is exciting for us is that we have so many people who are so very successful, right? And that's what's so exciting about it. And that's the thing about it. So simple, it works, it's effective, and it's awesome. And someday this is going to go to a completely different scale, a scale that I'm telling you guys, if we start talking about right now, you would just walk away. You'd be like, yeah, these people are off the rocker. Let's just make our money and get out of this company.
It'd be like if we unveiled Monopoly before Pro, you know? So,
yes,
or Genesis before
yes.
Pro. They'd be like, what are you talking about? It's a progression. But I love it when Hitesh gets giddy because that means big things happen. Just let you guys know. Hitesh plus excitement equals huge, huge things for you guys. Love it.
Although you could actually argue that the excitement is a result of the huge things happening. So the equation would actually be different. The equation would be Hitesh plus big things happening equals excitement.
Yes, yes. I could argue that. So are you guys excited?
Maybe
Let me
I'll
see
put
you
it
guys in the
this way.
chat.
This is my final parting shot at Roger, okay? Me being exciting is going to make you more money than hugging Roger.
I don't know. Nothing can make you more money. I hugged him once, and that was it. But you guys, are you guys excited? Let me hear you guys in the chat before we close this out. Yeah. Beautiful. It's all right, Raj.
I think
You
that
can
was
bring your
supposed to
music
be a
in.
cue to close.
Yeah, you can bring the music in, Raj, and then we can.
No, Hitesh, he knows what he wants to do here. You're not going to happen. I'm going to leave, and you guys are going to close. So.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. You know what? That shtick is so old.
Yeah,
we've been October 2013.
Yeah.
Just so everybody understands what we're talking about.
Close.
Back in 2013, there was this thing that we started where one of us would start closing, and the other person would just mute the person and exit the webinar, and we would just shut down the webinar. So
with a little bit of ridicule.
Yes, I just started this really, really bad trend where we would have Roger like tell everybody good night, and then while he was talking, I would shut down the webinar. That was a really horrible thing to do because it made us seem very unprofessional.
Yes,
but it was so fun that we just kept doing it for a while. We kept doing it for like 6 months.
It got to the point where no one wanted to even get on a webinar because it was like, all right, well, who's going to end this thing and who's going to get muted out? It was ridiculous.
Yep. So whoever is actually giving the ending speech always gets muted out. So that's when none of us three want to do it. So we'll just say good night. And thank you for being on there. And make sure that you get on the Pro webinar coming up in a few minutes.
Thanks, guys.
Night.
That was such a lackluster good night.
Yeah, because someone's going to get muted. That's why. That's why it's a lackluster.
Yeah, because we're scared of you.
Yeah.
We're scared of you, Andy.
Definitely afraid of it.
I am not going to be shutting. I'm not going to be shutting it down. I'm not going to mute you. So just go ahead. Okay. Do the emotional one.
Nope.
Do your virtual hug. Yeah,
no, it takes a little planning. I don't just make it up. I'm not doing a virtual
So you make up the emotions. It takes you time to make up the emotions.
No, it has to be
like
baking
Come on, get them riled up.
It's kind of like baking a donut, Hitesh. It takes time and love and effort.
I don't need to get people riled up. To my brother, I'm excited to see you tomorrow in Canada. Pretty jacked up about that.
Yeah.
Here's how you do it. We're all family, okay? We're all family here. So all of you have a wonderful DSD family good night. And we'll see you on the Pro webinar.
And then we just mute them out like that. And
we are not all just family.
That's the muting.
You can say we're all just family because when you take account a lot of family.
Yes, we are. I can tell very clearly. We are all family.
You can't say that.
Sorry, it's worse when I do an Indian accent because it's just so horribly Indian.
Good night, everyone. Love you all. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.